Hey there, it's Crystal Lopez here from crystalandcomp.com, and today I'm going to show you how to make homemade chicken nuggets. Seriously, this is so much easier than you realize. We had a delicious dinner, and I'm going to show you how we did it all right? So first off, I made another bread recipe. I actually made homemade dinner rolls. They're honey dinner rolls, and I made them in my bread cooker or my bread machine. Remember, my bread machine lid is broken, so that's why it comes off. It goes back on. But anyway, I will tell you, I followed this recipe to a T, and it did not turn out, but I was able to recover it. Here's what I did. I did a cup and a half of warm water, 2 tablespoons of olive oil, or you could use butter, 2 tablespoons of honey, 2 teaspoons of salt, 3 cups of flour, and 2.5 teaspoons of yeast. Now, once I was all done, I had a friend that reached out to me and she had seen, she's a fellow blogger, Lana from lanascooking.com. She had seen a different bread recipe that I had made, the cinnamon bread. And she asked me how bread making was going. And she has been making bread for years and years and years and years. And she gave me some pointers because I had just made this recipe right here the day she messaged me. And I was like, this failed. And I have no idea why this failed. So she gave me some pointers, and part of them, number one of the pointers was make sure that I'm using non-liquid measuring cups for, like, I need to be using the correct types of measuring cups and measuring very precisely. But also, there is a difference in active yeast and instant yeast, and there is a difference in, or I guess, dry yeast and instant yeast. And there's a difference in all-purpose flour and bread flour, and it can make all the difference in your recipe and your final results. So I'm learning as I go, and everything that I make, there's a learning experience and something that I walk away with. But I knew here, like when this started mixing, I knew that this didn't look right. And as we got further along, so we just did it at the number 10 setting. By this point, I absolutely 100% knew that this dough was not going to turn out. And we're just doing the dough setting where we're letting it knead and rise in here. Here, there was no doubt in my mind that this was a fail. This was after it went through the whole hour and 40 minutes. I was so frustrated, but I ended up saving it and putting it into my KitchenAid with the hook attachment on it and added more flour. And they were a much more dense roll than what they would have been, but we still were able to eat them. And actually, most of my kids, including Kelsey, came by. She tried one and she's like, I like these better than the ones you made a few nights ago. So they turned out great. They turned out good. I wouldn't say great. They turned out good. But we are learning, and I will pay more attention to all of those details. All right, so I made that bread earlier in the day and had it doing its rising situation. And then now this is later on in the evening. It's time to get dinner going, and we're cutting up this chicken, these chicken breasts, and it's about 5 pounds worth, and we're turning it into homemade chicken nuggets. Luke Henry had really been wanting to make homemade chicken nuggets, so we were doing it. So you just take your chicken breasts, and I'm kind of cleaning them up and getting any of the tendons or the fatty pieces off and putting that off to the side. And then I'm just cutting it into strips and then taking those strips and cutting it into chunks. And as soon as we have all of the 5 chicken breasts cut up into chunks, then we will take it and shake it in that bag that has the chicken nugget breading seasoning in it. And again, this is the Great Value brand that I got at Walmart. It's over near the shake and bake kind of stuff. And it really makes it super, super easy. And Luke Henry got to be a part of this. Now that he helped us do it this time, the next time, I think that he could probably, if I chop it all up, he could handle doing all the breading by himself now that he kind of knows how to do it. But this was really, really easy and such a great dinner idea. Okay, so we're gonna put that in the oven, and while that's going, I'm gonna get a couple of cans of green beans going on the stove. I like to, if I'm using canned green beans, I will add salt and pepper and butter and just let it, over a medium heat over on the stove. And then I had this corn on the cob that I needed to use up. So I am just going to take the husks off, and my mom's going to wash it off. And we are going to put it in a pot on the stove to boil with a little bit of salt in it and just boil the corn on the cob. Actually, I think I cut them in half to make them a little bit smaller. Everybody at my house loves corn on the cob, so this was a very safe choice for another side dish. All right, so now it's time to get those rolls going. So I had the dough that failed, but I put it in my KitchenAid with the dough hook, added flour to it, and look, it looks better, right? I rolled it into little balls and baked it. Now, like I said, they ended up being pretty dense. They weren't airy, but they were absolutely delicious. I probably overhandled them, with the dough hook and then rolling them around and all of that. I'm sure it was a little much, but it was okay. They've turned out fine enough. And my mom was like, "No, I really think you need to put them all near each other, because that helps them rise more." I don't know. We don't know what we're doing, but they did rise just fine. And we ended up consolidating them really closely together. So then I asked Lenny if he would cut the watermelon for me. So just know summer in Texas means like every time you go to the grocery store, you get a watermelon. It is watermelons abound for sure. So we both cut watermelon differently. And honestly, he cuts watermelon for me a lot. And I would say that every time he cuts a watermelon, he cuts it differently, depending on which knife he's using, how big the watermelon is. I don't know. This right here looks a little dangerous. He's got um that board that's just sliding all over the place, but he knows what he's doing. I mean, he never hurts himself, so and I don't know that I would cut it like this in the round, but it worked out great. And this was a delicious watermelon. There's all these pictures floating around on Facebook and whatnot that tell you the best way to pick a watermelon. It needs to have a yellow spot. It needs to have this kind of webbing. It needs to have this kind of color if you want it to taste good. I mean, I've been paying attention. Really, the only thing I've consistently done is made sure that it has a really good yellow spot on it. My mom says you gotta tap it or thump it. I don't know. Everybody has their way of picking out a watermelon. I've picked out some really good ones this season. I really have. They're just so good to have. We love to cut them up and then keep them on hand in the refrigerator and take out a little bit with each dinner or each lunch. They're so refreshing and so hydrating and so delicious. But I'm always nervous before I take that first bite when we cut into it. I want to make sure that it's sweet and juicy and just has good flavor and is delicious. And this one did not disappoint. Now, again, I don't know that I would tell you to cut it like this, but he knows what he's doing, and everything ended up great. So there you have it. But I also really don't like that uh, cutting board. It just slides everywhere. But I do like that it has a little lip on it. Um, that lip helps to hold on to all of the juices, but I would prefer to just use my pretty wooden one. I feel like it does a really good job when I'm cutting up watermelon. It's thick and heavy, so it stays put. And it has the little lip around it too to catch all the juices, but he likes this plastic one, so whatever. There you have it. All right, so watermelon's cut up. Everybody's tasting it. It's delicious. It did not disappoint. Thank you, Lenny, for cutting up the watermelon. You do a great job. And here are the rolls when they came out of the oven. They're connected, so we did have to like use the spatula to kind of cut them apart, but they were really tasty. They really were. So something that appeared to be a flop ended up being salvaged, and it wasn't bad at all. All right, so here we are. Here's everybody for dinner. Kelsey and the kids had come by. I also made some mashed potatoes with some potatoes we needed to use up. There's those green beans. There's the watermelon. There's the chicken. We had a full house for dinner that night, and convincing my kids that they didn't need 20 chicken nuggets was a challenge, but it was filling. It was so delicious, and we will be doing it again. This is the best way to make homemade chicken nuggets. I think you'll love it, and I'm sure we could make our own breading, honestly, if we tried. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out with us. Watch one of these other videos, and we'll see you in the next one. Have a great day. Bye.